Hi, I'm David Winward, and I'll be discussing the article titled Who Needs Budgets by Jeremy Hope and Robin Fraser. In this article, they discuss a paradigm shift that needs to occur in the current methods of budgeting. They talk about how in current methods of budgeting, there's a static end goal, and now it needs to change into a more dynamic goal. And they also talk how there needs to be a shift from a centralized hierarchy or like a corporate or a top-down approach into a more synergistic, network-oriented uh, way of communication. With this increase in communication, it will also increase the ability to adapt and make changes to the ever-changing market. Now, budgets are extremely important in business, and without them, we would fall into a spiral of uncontrollable spending, and we wouldn't understand where we fall and how we're doing throughout the year. Now, in the article, they discuss several adverse impacts of budgets. One key issue is earnings management. Earnings management occurs when employees seek to find benefit now as well as in the future through unethical behaviors. These unethical behaviors involve potentially ordering too much and then returning it just so that they receive that commission, or potentially delaying purchases so that the transaction falls in the next year so that they can get the bonus in the next year. Another impact of earnings management would be unethical behavior. So as a set budget is placed, employees feel the need that they need to reach those goals or else, and then they find unethical ways of doing that. We've seen that in Enron and WorldCom. Another key issue is the mentality of spend it or lose it. Now, many companies get this when they receive their budget and they receive X amount for spending, and they spend every single penny of that because they're afraid of in the next year they won't receive as big of a budget if they don't use that budget, which increase cost, and then in the end it'll decrease profitability. Now, another impact to this is that they are slow to make adjustments and slow to make changes as the market is changing, so they'll be one step behind the game. Now, budgets are also extremely time-consuming and can be costly, and in the end they can become unreliable as the market is changing. Now, the author has created or mentioned an alternative to the current practices of budgeting. Now, the alternative focuses more on key performance indicators and industry-wide benchmarks instead of predetermined fixed financial measures to incentivize employees. Now, using key performance indicators, it allows them to kind of keep that information hidden so that employees aren't working to a certain point and then stopping there. So it encourages them to work vigorously throughout the entire period. Now, they also focus on different analyses such as trend analysis as well as a rolling forecast. So having that rolling forecast allows them to see in the future as well as look in the past and then make adjustments as time goes on and as market conditions change, which allows them to adapt and make those changes quicker. Another benefit to the alternative, or they also called it the relative performance or relative model, would be that employees focus on outperforming themselves. They work on trying to be better the next year. Another benefit would be continuous planning or continuous discussion about the budget. The budget isn't a discussion of, okay, what's the budget and then how did we do? It is a what can we do, what changes need to occur. Another benefit to this new alternative method would be that it minimizes cost. It loses that whole spend it or lose it mentality. As discussed previously, it also increases communication. There's constant monitoring on this, so changes are made easier, as well as increased responsibility on the employees. As employees are watched more carefully, as they are looked at through key performance indicators, it's harder for free riders to just kind of slide on through. Now, another key benefit to the new alternative method would be a better quality strategy would be created as communication is developed from the front line to managers and managers to decision makers. So as that information flows from the bottom to the top now knows what is occurring on the bottom and can better make decisions. Now, the end product of making these changes would be that there's an endless conversation occurring about the budget, and there's an endless conversation about how they can change and how they can create a better, more strategic way of accomplishing their goal and creating a better bottom line. There are many benefits that can be made through this change in budgeting techniques. Some of these benefits, as discussed previously, is that knowledge flows from the front line to the decision makers and then back to the front line, as well as their strategies become more personalized to the location and more personalized to the market. As the market is changing, they are able to make quicker and changes and responses to that market. And lastly, there becomes an endless conversation about planning and budgeting. It doesn't become a conversation at the beginning and the end of the year. Making these key changes will greatly benefit the company in many aspects of their business.